Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love.
Listen up, Autobots and Decepticons. You are listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts,
I'm your
Nero.
other host, Audrey.
Welcome to the 80s, everybody. We're back in the past, to where it all began.
We're going back to the future.
To the far-flung years of 1984. With I think inarguably the most iconic Transformers origin. Like, the Marvel comic technically predates this, but I feel like this version of these events is like
this is Transformers. Like, full stop, this is Transformers. And just like the book, downright Orwellian. I don't know what I meant by that. Sorry. It's 1984. God. This is just season 1 of G1, and we're not even into, like, the real crackpot stuff yet, but boy, do we come off strong with some of the... It is, like, incredible, because some of the shots, like, especially, like, of Cybertron are gorgeous, right? Like, the actual art of it is, like, something out of, Akira or something. It's these, like, huge, sprawling cyberpunk cityscapes and, like, these really original vehicle designs, and it's really, like, stunning to look at. And then you get 3 Starscream Moon.
Yeah, listen, the animation errors will only get worse and also better as time goes on.
I'm just saying, duality of
it's
man.
True. So we're starting the Transformers, or as it is retroactively known, G1. Obviously, it was not called that upon release because there weren't any other generations. But yeah, this is the 3-parter to open up the first Transformers show, More Than Meets the Eye, parts 1, 2, and 3.
We start off. I mean, this even if you didn't know going into it, this show so immediately dates itself as an 80s cartoon, in terms of animation style, voice acting, and in this case, like, narration and storytelling, because the show opens up with this film noir ass narration that is so, like, iconic of, like, the mid 80s to early 90s.
And of course, that is Victor Caroli, the voice of G1. He can be heard all over the original cartoon and in the movie. I think he's actually still around. He's pretty old, but I think he's still kicking around. And I will not be going over the usual voice actors thing here. There are too many fucking guys. There's all of them, almost all of them voice like 7 dudes. Frank Welker is half the Decepticons, probably.
Like, at least he certainly has at least half the Decepticons that matter.
He's definitely both Laserbeak and Ravage.
As well as obviously Megatron and Soundwave.
I mean, it's very funny that the first Transformer you actually see on screen in G1 is Wheeljack.
Wheeljack, yes. So this is one of my favorite little, like, tidbits of knowledge, because I really love Wheeljack in G1. I would say my, like, favorite characters are probably, like, Starscream first, then Wheeljack, then Grimlock.
Yeah.
Like, he's the first one.
He's stealing some rods with his boy Bumblebee, and we instantly get into one of the best parts of this opening Cybertron sequence, which is the fucking funky retro future 80s alt modes.
And again, like, this part of the show looks great. Like, and I kind of get it. Like, if you're gonna put all of your budget, your coked out animators, and tell them to, really concentrate on one area, you want, like, the first 5 minutes of the series to really count, to make a really strong first impression, and it does. It's good to look at. It's a real, like, genuinely, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and so, we're immediately introduced to the whole thing. Autobots, Decepticons, Cybertron is suffering from severe fuel shortages due to the endless war, the Autobots are trying to get enough energy to leave Cybertron in search of other fuel sources.
We do almost immediately get our first voice acting error.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So, as Wheeljack and Bumblebee are trying to make their way back to Iacon, they encounter the Elite Trine. And Starscream opens his mouth to, give the order to attack. But that is sure as hell not Chris Latta's voice that come out. That is, I believe, Thundercracker's voice.
I think it's either Thundercracker and Scour are hard to teleport. I think Thundercracker's voice
is
deeper. He's like down here.
Yeah. So I think that was Thundercracker's voice that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. And the Tetrajets, as they're called here, the things that the Seekers turn into on Cybertron are like, this is truly iconic. I mean, everything in this 3-parter is iconic, but these things are like the coolest looking Cybertronian alt modes, I think. These things look so fucking cool.
Yeah. All of the ground pounder alt modes kind of look like Cybertrucks.
Yeah, Wheeljack is just a Cybertruck. Bumblebee transforms into a car that would have a really, really hard time on any road that has walls. He's very wide.
Yeah, I mean, the ground pattern designs are, not that interesting because, again, there's only so many things that, a car can be. You know what I mean? There are limitations on cars, but, the Tetrajets are really cool because they're, really inspired by UFOs and stuff. And the shapes that, UFOs and shit can be are vastly varied.
You know what I love about G1 Starscream after Wheeljack and Bumblebee kind of escape Decepticon's clutches and flee back to Iacon. We kind of check in with Megatron. Literally line 1, not counting when he somehow spoke with Thundercracker's voice, which is a cool party trick. Line 1 from Starscream is like, I bet I would be a better leader than you, Megatron. I'm just saying, I'd be better than you.
They suck so bad at this.
They're really fucking stupid.
They're truly the twits.
Then Megatron's like, nuh-uh, you fucking idiot.
And Soundwave is on the side being like, God fucking damn it.
I'm like, oh. Speaking of Soundwave, I think it's really convenient that either lampposts or communication towers on Cybertron look like Soundwave T-posing, I guess. That's his alt mode. He T-poses.
Those are also all cassette players T-posing, actually. It's Functionalist Society. They've been frozen in place.
Surely you know what Soundwave turns into. Get rid of those things so you'll know if he's around.
What's the one constant in all your failed communications?
Yeah. We see Jazz's alt mode, just pretty boring. It's just like a hover sports car.
Oh, well, before we get over to Jazz, I do want to say one of the other characters we get introduced to here is Shockwave.
Yes.
Who is so great at G1, Shockwave and his huge naturals.
He's very busty in this appearance.
His proportions are insane.
Megatron, I would love to look you in the eye, but I can't see you over my massive rat.
Yeah, and he is in G1, he's the ultimate cuck, which is really funny. But all the Decepticons are like, all right, we're leaving this shit show. Get out. And he's like, and Megatron's like, everyone prepare to board except you, Shockwave. Shockwave, you're staying behind. And Shockwave's like, yes, sir, it's an honor. And Megatron's like, okay.
Can I watch, Megatron? The thing about Shockwave that's so funny is that this is basically the only version of Shockwave that is fiercely loyal. Every other Shockwave is with the exception of Prime, I guess. Every other Shockwave is a scheming nightmare man who does a billion war crimes and makes everybody's lives 10 times worse.
Shockwave is loyal to science.
Yes.
In most depictions of him.
He is driven by logic, first and foremost.
Yeah. For a variety of reasons, depending on your canon. But that is where his true A, interest, and B, loyalties lie.
But in G1 cartoon, he's just Megatron's chesty guy on Cybertron. He's just hanging out.
Constantly being confounded by females.
I need to get a fucking soundboard machine and just have that on lock at all times because it's so funny.
I guess Prime is even Prime isn't that loyal to Megatron.
No, but he's not.
I mean, he's more loyal
not
to Megatron. He's not a schemer, but even he is still like, okay, I'm gonna do my funny little experiments now.
Yeah.
His experiments just are less atrocious than they are.
Yeah, he just wants to do. He just
continuities.
wants to spit in God's face is all, and Megatron's perfectly content to leave him with that because it gets some cool dragons.
Yeah, listen, he didn't do anything that Ratchet and Wheeljack don't do in G1.
It's true. Those two truly are mad scientists. So this is when we cut over to the auto base to Iacon, which is a big dome, and we see Jazz and his shitty little hover car alt mode, and we also see Soundwave T-posing, and he dispatches Laserbeak, who looks like a Roomba currently.
Listen, I'm gonna say this a lot in this series, but whoa, Laserbeak be upon ye.
Like he is legitimately one of the most dangerous Decepticons, especially in this.
Bing bong, fuck your life.
Basically, that's Soundwave's primary function. Is
holding Laserbeak and Ravage.
Yeah, just throw a pigeon into the room and leaving. We got all our boys here. We got Optimus Prime. The classic G1 Optimus Prime. It's time to go. We have enough energy to launch the Ark and look for some energy elsewhere. But Laserbeak saw the whole thing, and now the Decepticons know. So we get them like going through space, and they're in the middle of an asteroid field and all that. And if we're skipping some character introductions, don't worry, the show does too. Windcharger's name is literally never said.
Listen, you really have to understand. Again, we've talked about it before, but more than any other series, G1 was there to sell toys. Mm-hmm. Everything else was incidental. So names are optional. They just want you to see the product. But there's also so many of these motherfuckers.
The cast is huge. All right. Let me see if I can remember the crew of the Ark off the top of my head.
No.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. Prime. That's a gimme.
Yep.
Ironhide. Wheeljack. Bumblebee. Yep. Prowl. Blue Streak. Jazz. Mirage. Brawn. Huffer. Cliff Jumper, Hound, Trailbreaker. Like already, that's too many guys.
Did you say Ratchet? I don't think you said Ratchet
is there
yet.
too. That's so many dudes.
Technically Roller.
Roller is Optimus's little pet. This doesn't really count. Gears may or may not be there. I don't remember. Windcharger.
Gears was there. No, Gears was there.
And Windcharger. That's like 15 guys.
Gears was there because he switches out with Cliff Jumper between frames in another scene later on.
That's his power. Meanwhile, the thing about the Decepticons is they actually have a much smaller starting cast. Like it's the Elite Trine, Megatron, Soundwave, fucking Reflector.
It's so funny that Reflector's
and so
there.
they just like fill out the Decepticon ranks with a bunch of generic blue seekers.
Three of Soundwave's Casseticons, Laserbeak, Ravage, and Rumble.
Frenzy is somewhere in there, but he doesn't get to come out very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cast.
And I guess maybe Buzzsaw is as well. So there's like a bunch. Here's what's really interesting is that there are a bunch of Seekers that you see. But what's really funny about it right now is that they only had like the Elite Trine, I guess, like planned out or voiced or named or whatever. So it's just like a ton of clones of Thundercracker and Skywarp. They just I choose like any other color. Like, you don't have to name them, just choose any other color, but it's just a whole bunch of blue and purple assholes.
Yep. So yeah, this is our Wave 1 cast, and yes, it's huge, and yes, most of them only have 1 or 2 lines. Does it matter? No, buy the toys. Anyway, the Nemesis boards the Ark, and they start fighting. It's kind of brutal, honestly, the fight that goes down in here.
Well, before it boards the Ark, they like the Autobots are trying to get away from them, and they like blow up a meteor, and Soundwave just has a great line, which is meteor shower.
Yes, thank you, fucking AccuWeather Soundwave.
Yeah, they board they don't let the Autobots get away. They board the ship. We get the same 4 seconds of animation repeated over itself. That was a pretty good one.
It kind of looks like they're just waving their arms near each other in a lot of these wide shots.
Well, there's like one part in particular where like Optimus is telling everyone to like prepare to be boarded, where it literally just clips over itself, like someone trying to loop a security camera.
It's beautiful. So they fight
for like 4 seconds.
They fight. Everyone's fighting on the Ark, but they fell into Earth's gravity well, and they're gonna fucking crash. They crash into a volcano. Oh shit!
The SpongeBob narrator voice. 4 million
Literally.
years later.
Yeah, then the volcano erupts, which like knocks Teletran 1's fucking satellite thing loose, and it immediately goes, "Explore, explore!" in Casey Kasem's voice, who is of course the voice of Clone Trapper and also the voice of American Top 40 Radio and Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He was around a lot in the 70s and 80s.
The Scooby-Doo gang's all here.
And funnily enough, the first guy that Teletran 1 fixes is fucking Skywarp.
So this is fascinating. What is really fascinating to me is that, like, just talking about, like, fandom stuff for a second, Megastar is probably the single most popular ship in the fandom. Make of that what you will. Again, I'm not going to comment on my feelings about it. But that is probably like the single most popular ship in the fandom, probably shortly followed by Megop.
Right.
However, Skywarp is the first one to wake up. And Skywarp wakes up Megatron. And Skywarp is so loyal to Megatron. And like the amount of like Meg Sky that's out there is like woefully lacking given their actual in-character interactions. And I just think it'd be funny to think about AU where everything is the same except Skywarp is the second in command instead of Starscream. It'd be a very short AU because Starscream would kill him.
Yeah. You can't have anyone else above Starscream because they'll just kill his way up to the top until he's next to Megatron, and then he'll repeatedly try to kill him.
Yeah. The issue with Starscream is he actually is stronger than everyone else except for Megatron.
Yeah. It's also interesting because, like, so a lot of these characters, you know, Bob Budiansky wrote all these character profiles for the Marvel Comics and the original toy line, which some of it makes it into the show, some of it doesn't. Skywarp and Thundercracker in particular have all of their personalities like leached away pretty much. Because like Skywarp is supposed to be kind of a dumb thug who likes to cruelly prank people, but he's not very bright, so he's very easy to order around. And Thundercracker kind of has this thing, even back then in the 80s, for his character profile, where like he's kind of questioning his place in the Decepticons and what they're doing and all that. None of that's in the show. They're just guys. They're just dudes.
Can I say really quickly one of my favorite fanon interpretations for why Skywarp isn't so bright?
Why is that?
Because his systems are constantly overclocked with keeping his warp drive in check. and like doing like calculations to like break through the space-time continuum.
He's fucking overheating.
Basically, that like so much of his focus is like focused on his outlier. So much of his processor is focused on his outlier ability that he doesn't have enough like memory basically to focus on other things.
So whenever Skywarp's in the room, you should just hear like in the background, just like fans going.
Yeah.
No one to stand near him because he gets way too hot.
Listen, that's there are other implications about that, but
so the Decepticons all get repaired and woken up, and they're like, "Oh my!" Megatron's like, "Yes, we're on a planet rich with energy. We're gonna fucking suck this place dry. Hell yeah!"
And then we're gonna go back to Cybertron with all that energy, renew it, and then suck it dry again. Brilliant plan.
Great job, Megatron. This is a very sustainable model of Empire you have in mind here. However, Starscream, as usual, ruins everything. This is the entire thing is his fault because he just starts shooting at the mountain, and Megatron's like, "Hey, knock that shit off! What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just saying goodbye." And guess what? Shooting the fucking mountain knocks Optimus Prime over, and he gets repaired. And now the Autobots are back. Good job, buddy.
He's the hero we deserve.
Now this is my favorite part of this episode, where after
Cliff Jumper.
No, that's my second favorite. But before that we Megatron's going like, all right, everyone, here's your assignments. Soundwave, draw me a spaceship. Starscream.
Oh yeah,
get ready to do some construction, and then he takes Rumble and Soundwave with him, and basically Starscream and a 4-year-old argue about whether or not he could be president. That's because Rumble's like, yeah, he could never beat Megatron. He doesn't have a weakness. And Starscream's like, I bet he does.
Please, Rumble's 12. Rumble's definitely in middle school.
I learned all sorts of new swears today.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he argues with
Rumble's voice. Rumble's voice is so choice.
It's amazing. All Rumbles should sound like this.
But I mean, I also want like the lead up between this, before this as well, where like Megatron's like, Starscream, get constructing, and Starscream too. I will say, like, in all fairness to him, goes, with what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Do you want me to build some shit
like,
out of rocks? That's all that's around.
Yeah, they're in the middle of the desert. And Megatron's like, get creative. And he's like, I don't know. And he like points over to a plant, like power plant in the middle and off in the distance, which will become imminently important, and goes, use that. And Starscream's like, all right, fine. I'm gonna need some help though, so I'm stealing your most loyal soldier and his kid. Bye.
Idiots. They're just all stupid as fuck. So yeah.
My favorite part about G1 Soundwave is that he's obviously loyal to Megatron, but he's also like much more passive and willing to just be an observer.
Yeah, he just hangs around.
To shit.
He's just chilling.
He's like Starscream needs me? Yeah, sure. He's still technically my superior, I guess.
So the Autobots wake up, and Optimus sends Cliffjumper and Hound out for recon.
Cliffjumper. Okay, first of all, Cliffjumper wants to kill so badly. He is sick.
He's a bloodthirsty little freak.
Like, yeah, so like, Optimus is handing out assignments, and Cliffjumper's like, "Hey, can we do murder? I want to murder.
Kill his fucking Decepticons.
I want to kill. I want to kill." And it's like, buddy, maybe you should chill out, and maybe you'll survive a series.
Yeah. So then they go up. They go up on a mountain. And they see the Decepticons building a space bridge somehow out of what? That power plant, I guess.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And Hound's zooming in. Like we kind of cut in on Hound's vision. And he's like, oh man, they're building a space bridge. This is pretty bad. And Cliffjumper.
Well, before he says that, Cliffjumper's like, let's go kill them. And Hound's like, no, we were just sent here to observe. And then we see from like Hound's perspective, and he's talking to Cliffjumper. He's like, yeah, it's looking like this. And it cuts back.
Cliffjumper has produced a gun that is bigger than he is.
This is a rocket launcher.
So where did you...
Cliffjumper is a mini-bot. This is a Cliffjumper. It's called Subspace. Here's an interesting concept that I don't think actually gets described in the show, but is commonly accepted as existing in G1. It's called Subspace. It's not what happens when you do a BDSM scene. It is instead a like pocket dimension where they are able to carry some amount of stuff, including some of their own mass in most interpretations. Like when they do mass displacement, as we will see Megatron do with his alt mode later on, it is theorized that some of that mass goes to subspace as well. So it's not exactly clear how much they can carry in subspace, but some amount. And I assume that's where Cliffjumper kept this.
I pulled this out of my ass, Hound. And now I've got Megatron dead in my sights.
He literally couldn't, though, because it's bigger than he is.
He misses. He says he has Megatron dead in his sights. That goes nowhere even near Megatron. Fucking shoot better, bro.
And for the second time, whoa, Laserbeak be upon me.
Yeah, like, we just gotta split up because they're driving away from Laserbeak, and we just gotta split up. He can't chase both of us. Now, there's a lot of abilities in this first episode that never show up again. For instance, the Autobots can just fly, same as the Decepticons. They won't be able to do that for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that was fun to see. I'd forgotten about that.
Laserbeak can detach one of his guns to fly autonomously. He never does this again.
That's because it gets destroyed here.
But
Cliffjumper destroys it, so he never has it anymore.
They give him another one. That one just doesn't work.
Listen, they're on Earth. They don't have the...
It's true.
Hook is doing the best he goddamn can, okay?
Listen, Hook's too busy giving... No, Shockwave has big naturals. He isn't getting any surgery for those.
Yeah.
So...
He's giving Starscream bigger naturals.
I must be bigger than Shockwave. I must assert dominance.
So he splits off the satellite gun goes after Cliffjumper, who destroys it.
And Hound gets owned.
Yeah, and Laserbeak goes after Hound, who is like, "Damn, you really don't give up," and then immediately beefs it.
I hope.
Rip Hound, we hardly knew you.
All of you are ready to watch all of the Autobots take huge L's repeatedly, usually by falling down hills. That happens a lot. I
will say, like, very even-handed. Everyone takes huge L's constantly in this show. There is not a single competent character in this show. Not one.
Nobody looks cool. Also,
Skyfire might be the closest.
And that's because he's not around as much, so he gets to be cool when he shows up.
Yeah.
Who's Hauler? Hey, who's that guy? Who's that crane? They call him Hauler.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Hauler.
Where'd he go?
Where'd you go?
This is never expanded upon if this is just an Autobot because there is an Autobot crane, but he doesn't show up until season 2. And this is a Hauler, and it's a crane, and he pulls Hound up, and he's Hauler. Well, he's just a fact of life. We all Hauler, that guy.
Yes, we've all seen Hauler.
So yeah, they have a thing. Clifford's like, geez, Hound, I'm sorry. I'll be more careful next time. And Hound's like, next time, be careful not to miss. And they share a good laugh. And I kind of wanted there to be a pause, and Hound just says, "No, I mean it. Next time, kill that motherfucker when you have the chance."
Yeah. I will say that the nice thing about G1 is the stakes don't matter at all. No one's actually dead ever.
Until the movie, when everyone is suddenly made of tinfoil. Until the movie,
when everyone becomes super dead.
Yeah.
Outrageously dead.
So we get the Decepticons scaring some fucking guys in hard hats. Now this is important. In G1, if you are anyone with a blue-collar job, you must wear the uniform. Bright yellow hard hat, blue jeans, button-up shirt. That's every dude in this show. That's all.
Boots with the fur.
And then then the Decepticons go attack a fucking oil derrick. And this is where we see Sparkplug and Spike, who is years old. I don't know how old Spike is supposed to be.
Our plucky human characters. I think Spike's supposed to be around 18.
Yeah, he graduated from high school. He's apprenticing with his dad. That's presumably what's happening here.
Yes, that is what I believe is what it is. So I would say Spike is supposed to be between 18 to 20.
Then the Decepticons attack, and the Autobots arrive to save them.
Okay, well, before the Autobots arrive, the humans do fight back, which is one of the least realistic parts.
This is where Rumble shoves Spike onto his ass for the first time. This happens a lot.
Rumble's the funniest character
really
in this series. I love Rumble so much. Shit. Fuck Starscream. Rumble's my favorite character in G1.
It's so funny because he never acknowledges the humans. He just shoves them out of the way all the time.
Yeah, so the Decepticons are there, and all the humans are holy shit, what the fuck is that? And rather than running away, which is what any human would actually do, they all start throwing rocks at them. Real David and Goliath moment, except it doesn't go.
Yeah, look, it's really lucky you guys are in the 80s cartoon and not all hell Megatron, or else things would go very differently in this situation.
That's a little genocide. But yeah, so most importantly, this is the introduction to Sparkplug and Spike, and then the Autobots show up.
Here's another animation error, by the way. When everyone's fighting the big fighty, there's a giant Rumble who is the same size as Wheeljack fighting him on like a platform.
Yes, there is. Starscream is also going against Ironhide, which feels unfair to me, in favor of Ironhide.
Yeah.
That does not seem like an ideal matchup for Starscream.
No, not really.
Especially on the ground. I don't understand why he's not just flying, but whatever.
And like we so the Decepticons have been like the Decepticons have a thing where called Energon cubes that Soundwave can pop out of his chest, and it seems like you can just put any old thing in them, raw oil, rubies,
any energy source.
Are rubies an energy source?
You'll note they're not rubies, they're ruby crystals. Okay.
You can put anything in there, and it turns into some delightfully delicious Energon juice. And it's funny, in the future, Energon cubes will be cubes that are stacked up. In this, though, they like push them down into pizza boxes almost. They like compact them.
Yeah. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno's.
So Megatron blows up the oil derrick as they fly away because they know the Autobots are going to save the
And for the third time, whoa, Laserbeak be upon ye.
Yep.
The last thing that happens here is Laserbeak pecking at Optimus's head.
As he is... Okay. Optimus, listen. I know you can't exactly get the best footing where you are. There's no way you can't lift this fucking wreckage over your head, man. You're the leader of the Autobots. You can't lift some fucking steel out of the water? Bro, you're skipping leg day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a lot of L's in this series.
That's the to be continued. In part 2, we immediately open on Huffer, who's going... Huffer's thing is that he complains all the time about everything.
Huffer versus Wheelie for most annoying character fight.
Wheelie wins because at least Huffer doesn't rhyme.
I don't know. I kind of like the extra layer of character that that gives Wheelie.
Huffer's like, I hate water. I hate being hot. I hate oil. I hate everything. I wish I wasn't here right now. I want to go back to bed. Like,
no, Huffer is also a mini-bot.
He is.
But he's a tow truck or something?
He's like a truck cab, but he's a very, very small
one. But he's a very, very small one, which is very funny.
At a certain point in the future... In a future episode, now you'll notice he's being rescued by Brawn here, who's another mini-bot, but his thing is that he's really strong. I guess presumably stronger than Optimus fucking Prime, because he can lift this wreckage off his buddy no problem. So maybe we should reconsider who we put in charge. That's all I'm saying.
Short King Mama A.
But in the future, there's going to be it's even better. It's even better, actually, because in the future, someone is going to be riding inside of Huffer's cab, and it's Hoist. A guy who is twice Huffer's size in robot mode.
Mass displacement, baby.
Fucking insane. Anyway, they get Huffer free, and presumably he keeps complaining off screen. Optimus saves Spike and his dad, and he brings them back to the Ark to hang out. And Spike is journaling. And, all right, Spike, maybe he didn't graduate high school, because Spike writes like he's 9. But, buddy, this journal is terrible.
It's the 80s. Leave him alone.
I met some big robots today, and they were really nice. They saved me and my dad from being burned. And then he just... All right. Now, Spike. You have found yourself in the middle of an intergalactic civil war between two races of robots that can transform into things. You already saw Megatron, because we forgot to mention this. Episode 1 is the first time we see Megatron in gun form. I think he transformed to shoot at Optimus, and of course his trigger man, as always, Starscream.
Except for one time in the 3rd episode where it is again Skywarp.
Interesting. But so you know that they can get small, Spike. So he sees a random tape player sitting on a rock in the middle of the desert. And he goes, ooh, boy, and he grabs it and takes it inside.
He goes, it's not just a tape player, it's a rock!
And he goes inside to where the Autobots all show off their cool abilities. They're just like, hey, check this out. Check out what my toy can do in the lore. Not in real life. Like, Mirage turns invisible, Hound shows off his fucking hollow matter avatar. They don't call it that, but that's what it is. And this is an interesting thing. So obviously in the pilot episodes, there's a lot of weird stuff. that doesn't really carry forward. Like I said, the Autobots can fly freely. Hound is the guy who hangs out with the humans in this one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Hound sticks around, obviously, throughout G1, but becomes much less prevalent.
Yeah, he's really not.
After
this is basically his only time he ever shines. I don't think he ever gets another, like, focus episode after this.
Well, he doesn't get, like, a focus episode, but I think he does some amount of stuff in like, I'm thinking specifically of the Golden Lake episode.
Sure, he's always there when they're doing stuff, but he's never, like, he doesn't get his own stuff to do after this.
Yeah.
And he tells Spike he's gonna take him for the ride of his life.
Well,
so then the tape player that Spike found turns out to be Soundwave. Oops, you fucking idiot.
Who could have possibly seen this
Thankfully,
coming?
he doesn't really accomplish anything except getting Ravage caught. So, you know. By the way, Ravage is a cat. I know there's some confusion on that point. He is a cat. He is a jaguar. Does not look like a dog at all.
That is definitely a cat. I mean, he's ambiguous animal, but it is definitely, and again, like, interpretations of Ravage's design change both from series to series, and I think in G1 from episode to episode a little bit.
Yeah,
But,
listen, the model's
like,
inconsistent in the show, I'll tell you
right.
what.
So, you know, that's an issue of its own, but, like, G1 Ravage is very clearly supposed to be feline. IMO.
Yeah, he's got the sleek form, he's got, like, the angular head. He doesn't have the ears of a dog.
He has like the mouth.
Yeah.
He has like the jaw of a like a cougar. It's a googer.
It's a fucking cougar. Watch out. So they capture the cougar and put him in a cage, and Soundwave seems kind of sad about it, but also it's fine because they have
oh my god,
they have a fucking dam to attack.
Yet
again, more humans fighting back for some fucking reason. At some point in all of this, Sparkplug gets backhanded into a wall by Skywarp, I think. It's either in this one or the next one, but like their humans are getting tossed around by these guys.
Does Ravage get put in the cage here? Or
well,
we
know he's in the cage. We don't see him get put in the cage, but we can presume off screen they're wrangling him into a cage.
Yeah. So I want to. I also want to talk about a little bit about what the name of this plan is from the Decepticons.
Oh boy.
Because they're attacking a hydro plant. They're attacking the dam now, right? So basically, Megatron's like, okay, so oil rig was a bust, but there's many forms of energy on Earth. Great. So it turns out hydroelectric's another one. Found this dam. And Starscream's like, but that's not going to be enough. And he's like, you absolute buffoon, you moron, I'll kill you. We're going to break the dam to send water rushing through, so it'll generate enough energy for us to get back to Cybertron. So this is the plan, and Soundwave announces it by saying the title as he usually does, Laserbeak eject Operation Tidal Wave, and he does like a fun little wave motion with his arm, which I really enjoy. He's having a
good time. Yeah, but of course this is the classic Soundwave always has like the blank eject Operation blank, like that's his classic speech pattern. They're attacking the dam. They're fucking these dudes up. The Autobots arrive.
They've turned the dam into a kegger, by the way. They have. Which is great.
The Autobots arrive. I think it's at this point where Sparkplug gets fucking backhanded into a wall by Skywarp.
Well, actually, there's one thing I want to say before the Autobots join the fray, which is they're looking at the dam and they're like, shit, do you think and Prowl says, do you think the Decepticons did this? And Megatron immediately shoots them.
Yeah, I wonder, Mr. Tactician. Hey, Prowl, you good over there?
Listen, he has the mind of a genius cop.
So not very smart. Sparkplug gets backhanded into a wall. Hound and Spike are still hanging out. There's fighting in the dam now. Everything's blowing up. There's a bit where, this is some of the funny shit in this entire 3-parter. There's a bit where Hound is fighting Rumble underwater. And Rumble kind of traps him underneath some rocks, and Spike is up on the shore of the river going, Hound, where are you? And Rumble swims up, he slowly gets out of the water, like does a double take towards Spike and just shoves him.
First, no, wait. There's something you missed that's very important, because he gets out and Spike looks at him and goes, "Where's Hound?" And
What?
rather than respond to him, just shoves him into the water.
Not even into the water, just like shoves him over, just like bleh.
Yeah.
Leaves.
Yeah.
He just leaves.
Leaves. Before that, Megatron and Optimus are also, up on the
shit.
dam doing their, destined.
Yeah, and Optimus says,
There's-
Megatron, I think we should use these dope-ass weapons that we will literally never use again. And Megatron says, excellent idea, Prime.
I mean, they get used in other things.
Yeah,
at
but
least.
never in this show again.
They're precedent setting.
They are
I guess.
iconic. Like these, the Energetics and Energemates are super iconic. One episode.
Yeah. So two things. One is that I just love how cartoonishly evil Megatron is in G1.
Yes.
Like
Everything is
Optimus
fuel
like-
to sate my hunger. My hunger for power.
Exactly. Like it's straight up and down. Like there's no ambiguity here. There's no black and white morality. Like Megatron just sucks shit, and so do all of the Decepticons. The other thing though is that like their speech going back and forth to each other is really giving me like middle school play.
It does. Also, and you think, oh wow, this is going to be such a cool fight, and then Optimus gets distracted by something, and Megatron just like smacks him in the head and knocks him into the water. Oops.
This show's a masterpiece.
So then Spike, the boy genius, the smartest man in the world, says, I know what I can do to help Hound. I'll dive into the river and pull him out. He's a Spike, he's a fucking robot. He does not need to breathe. He will be fine. Give him like 5 minutes.
He is also a Jeep.
Like literally what
Can you pull a Jeep out of the water,
literally
my friend?
what happens is that Spike dives in, swims down, finds Hound completely fine, about to dig himself out anyway, and then starts drowning, so Hound has to drag him up to the surface.
It's very good.
Like, great job, man. You're so fucking useful already.
Crushing it.
Oh boy. So yeah, the dam, they fucked up. Dam's busted. The Decepticons got away, and they're just like
Thousands dead in
they're
town.
just running rampant across the fucking countryside, getting every kind of energy they can.
Slurping it up.
Really, the Autobots are doing a pretty bad job here. See, this is when the fucking Ruby mines come into play here. Also, at some point, all right, we haven't mentioned Reflector because they're not important at all, and they stop showing up very shortly. But Reflector is 3 guys who can turn into a camera. They all speak in unison, which is very spooky. I don't like them very much. And Thundercracker uses them as recon to look at a guy.
I mean, what else are they going to be used for? Honestly,
It's really funny when you think about what figures Hasbro decided to import as a part of the first wave of the Decepticon lines. All right, give me the gun robot. Give me the plane one. We can make a lot of dudes out of that plane robot if we just paint them different colors. Yeah, give me the tape deck. That tape deck guy looks pretty cool, and all his little funny guys there. Yeah, I guess give me the camera.
I do think that it sort of speaks to what was popular at the time. I feel like the mid 80s was sort of the beginning of the peak of those kids disposable cameras that parents would give to their children so that they could feel a bit of agency.
Yeah.
That were super popular. I mean, they were popular through when I was a little kid. In the mid-90s.
I think I had a Kodak single shooter camera. Yeah, they had to crank it.
And it wasn't. I mean, the single shooters were the normal single shooters were popular, but then you got the character ones. There was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line, and I remember all these character ones, and most of them would come with little stamps of that character on the photo. Somewhere or whatever to, help entice the kids. So, I think there is something that's very telling about what was popular at the time, right?
For sure.
And I'm trying to think of what else we just discussed, but there are other things as well that you wouldn't necessarily think, the tape deck, right?
Right.
portable cassette players were just sort of becoming like super popular as well. And again, we're like giving kids this sort of layer of agency that they hadn't had before, in terms of choosing their own music, and being able to take that with them wherever they go. So yeah, it's not necessarily what you would think of. Certainly it's not what you would think of today, but I do think it's like an interesting snapshot of what was actually trending at the time.
It's just like a side effect of Hasbro sort of scattershotly importing a bunch of stuff from different lines, because the tape deck and the camera were micro change guys, I think, where they're like scale models. Like they aren't supposed to turn into big robots. They're like household objects to turn into robots, but they made them big for the show. So back to the episode, the Decepticons are way back in the mines, got their... No, they don't really have pickaxes, but they're doing something. I love Megatron, like
in the ruby mines.
Way back in the ruby
okay, we need to talk about what mines these are. These are the Burmese ruby crystal mines.
How'd they get all the way out there?
Which Megatron discovered ? And are apparently real things that are very highly energetic.
Wow, they did their research.
In what is now Myanmar.
Yep. I don't know how they all got out there, really, or why Myanmar, which I believe is like a very tropical nation, it looks exactly like all the other fucking desert they've been in for the rest of the show, but you know. I love Megatron like digging his hands into the fucking huge thing of crystals and laughing.
This is the most cartoonish. He gets pretty cartoonish. This might be the most cartoonish he ever is in the series.
It's amazing. Then the Autobots show up and they're like, oh, they're in there all right. And Wheeljack's like, I've got an idea. I've got a tactical nuke. And he pulls out a fucking bomb. And he's like, what if we bury him?
Optimus, I got a tactical nuke. Okay?
Optimus, you unlocked the kill streak. I really love Wheeljack's glowy ears. Apparently this is a result of like... Wheeljack was originally supposed to have a face, but the animators sort of... Or like the character designer kind of misread his like his
I don't even have a mouth, you dumb piece of shit.
But instead, but it's even better because the glowy ears are like an inspired character design choice. Anyway,
yes, his radials.
They Sparkplug's like, I know these mines better than anyone. Which how I don't know if these. Like, okay, so they're supposed to be in Burma, which is in the middle of Asia, and Sparkplug knows these mines. How and why?
You know that video about Mrs. Salt being a beautiful Latina Asian woman who married Mr. Pepper, a French Chinese immigrant?
Yeah. Sparkplug. So he and Bumblebee got to blow up the Decepticons because they're small. No, I wrote down this line from Megatron that they overhear when they get in here. It's a very important line. So that we kind of cut back into the mines. They're putting the rubies in the cubes, and he goes, "This is the last load. Then we'll pull out." So,
what's your point?
I just thought it was humorous phrasing. For whatever reason, you can come to that conclusion on your own, listeners. Anyway, I think this is where Sparkplug. This is where Sparkplug gets slapped by fucking Skywarp.
Is this the point where he's with Bumblebee, right?
Yeah, he and Bumblebee are hanging out.
Yeah, so he's with Bumblebee, and it's like they're like sneaking in, and then mid being shot at, he's like, I think we have company.
Yeah, damn. You think so?
Great job, Sparkplug.
Fucking amazing, like, spatial awareness, my man. So they do plant the bomb, but then Optimus is like, oh geez, it sounds like it's getting rough in there. Hang on, I'll send in a Roller. And so he gets his trailer out.
Who?
Yeah, he's got a little buddy. His name's Roller. And he drives up. And this is great because Wheeljack's like, hey Prime, be careful. The bomb could go off at any minute. You don't want to be anywhere near the mines when that happens. And he's like, it'll be fine, Wheeljack. So he drives up and dispatches Roller, and then immediately the mines blow up, and Optimus takes a big tumble down the hill.
There's a couple things that happen before that, and I can't remember what the order is in. But there are some Seekers who come to attack.
I think this is like somewhere in the middle. Yeah, they get shot at, and one of them goes, "I gotta go back for repairs." Oh yeah, it's when it's Thunder. It's when Thundercracker looks through the camera and he sees the Autobots. He sends some like guys after them, just some dudes.
Yeah, who are also again still blue and purple.
Yeah, they're like knockoff. They're both the same color. They're kind of Thundercracker and kind of Skywarp, but not really. They're like blue and gray.
Yeah. They're like lighter versions of them. They're like not fully saturated. But anyway, like they send it out and there's like one moment where like one of them gets like shot down and Spike has one of my favorite lines in these episodes where he just goes, "That's hot."
Oh yeah, he does say that. I forgot to write that down. I was like, what?
Paris Hilton voice, "That's hot." And again, it's just very funny that there's only 2 colors for the Seekers at this point.
Yeah, there
can only be 2.
So part 2 ends with Optimus fucking rolling down the hill like an idiot,
dying.
Yeah.
He's dead. Optimus death counter 2.
So part 3 opens in a very interesting manner. They find Prime
with an old man slipping his disc.
Yeah, so there's a lot of grunting and groaning and like
they're like. So everyone rushes over to him and Ratchet's like, "Optimus, can you transform?" And he's like, "I don't know. Let me see." And it's like a full minute.
So long. You're just going,
it's like a full minute. Which again may not sound like a lot, but when you're watching an old man try to stand up,
you're just like,
it's so long.
He's grunting the whole time.
I feel like Peter Cullen was asked like make some grunts and did it like a minute long clip.
They just used
so
all
they
of
could
them.
like choose from it, and then they just used all of it.
Yeah, fucking hell, like, but he's fine. The plan works very badly because not only did they almost blow up Bumblebee and Sparkle who got captured, not only did they almost blow up Roller who's fine. Don't worry about him. He never really shows up anymore. He's just a part of the Optimus story, so they're sort of contractually obligated to show him off a little bit. The Decepticon just blow a hole in the ceiling and escape because they can fly.
Yeah, it's so great. They're like celebrating. It's like this is the first time that of many where they're like, and the Decepticons are gone forever.
Bye.
Only for that to be proven wrong within the next 5 minutes. So they just like busted their way out of the roof. And so they're gone.
Aww. Ironhide goes to try and catch them. He flies after them, which is a thing he can still do. And then Blue Streak, who, let me tell you folks, if there's any Autobot who has no fucking personality, it's Blue Streak.
What are you talking about? His personality is talk.
It's true. At least in this one. In other continuities he gets more of a thing. But like here, him and Prowl are basically interchangeable. But he goes after Ironhide, who gets like blown up, and he's also injured now. Like, guys, you gotta stop getting owned all the time.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to the auto base, and this is where we see Ravage in the cage. And Hound and Mirage construct the biggest brain plan of all time.
So first of all, I think this is like a real fun look into Mirage's character.
Yes.
Because Mirage is like, so we're getting out of here, right? We're getting out of here, right? If I spend one more minute on this fucking mud ball, I'll kill myself.
I cannot stand these weird little squishy freaks running around all the time. Do you know how hard it is? Hound, look at me. Do you know how fucking hard it is to not just stomp on them whenever they're around? Do you know how hard I'm holding myself back? I
only have 1 tin of polish from Cyber Glossier.
I'm running out
fast.
But they basically, Hound gets a fucking brain blast. He's like, wait a minute. Holograms. And somehow, alright, I will try to describe the plan.
Yeah, please.
Because there's a lot of things going on here in this section from both sides. So the plan is they're gonna do like a fucking play act in front of Ravage of like, oh yeah, there's a rocket base just a few miles north of here, and it's got a lot of fuel on it, but boy, I sure hope the Decepticons don't come and get it. And then they like quote unquote accidentally set him free. So he runs off. Then the plan is they build a fake rocket base, and all of them wear lab coats and ambush the Decepticons when they come to attack the rocket base. Now, this is a very stupid plan, and it works, but they get double bamboozled, super brained, because actually Megatron knew the whole time, and he sent a bunch of drones made out of junk metal to trick the Autobots while they attacked a real rocket base. What? Hello? Where do they get lab coats that big? It's really my main question out of all of this insanity.
There's also somewhere in... Okay, so a couple things happen in here.
A lot happens.
One is... A lot happens in here. So, first of all, before they go off to do this plan...
Quote-unquote plan.
Right. Oh, one thing I did mention is that the person who actually injures Ironhide is Skywarp.
Oh, yeah. This is the only time he teleports. This is the only time he does it.
In the series?
He just never... Like, he might do it one other time, but, like, he doesn't do this shit. Ever.
He does it a little... a few other times. Yeah, but,
like, it rarely comes up.
Yeah, it doesn't come up frequently, which is why I have my line here. Skywarp, you can teleport.
He's too stupid to remember he can do that.
But he actually, what's really interesting is he explicitly asks permission for it, as if Megatron's gonna be like, yeah, no, don't use your cool ability to take care of these guys. He does. He kicks their ass.
Showing a lot of deference to Megatron there, Skywarp.
Yeah. So anyway, back with Hound and Mirage. They're saying all. First of all, they're saying all of this in front of Ravage. So stupid. Who's in the cage, and they're like, anyway, and like Hound's like twirling the key around his finger, and they're leaving, and Mirage is like, "You're just gonna leave him here?" I was like, "Yeah, well, he's not going everywhere," and just drops the key on the floor.
That's part of the plan, though, because they're talking very loudly about the rocket base, and he drops the key so that Ravage will let himself out. Which, by the way, he's a very talented kitty.
He is a very talented
and he goes
kitty.
back to report to Megatron, which, by the way, this scene here where he's playing inside of Soundwave's tape deck, that's the only time Ravage actually talks.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, he's just making cat noises. But
we do get a really iconic line here, where Megatron and Starscream are sniping at each other again, and Starscream's talking about how he's going to be a leader, and Megatron responds to him by going, "You couldn't lead androids to a picnic."
Yes.
Which is a very well-known line.
If you like terrible metal/robot related puns, boy howdy, you're going to love G1. We got it all.
You are going to love G1 no matter what. This is a command.
You will love G1. Yeah, so the back to the fucking quadruple big brain, double fake out, quadruple flip, fucking dipshit brigade maneuver.
This is where we get 3 Starscream
Yeah,
Moon.
this is where all 3 of them are Starscream. They fucking attack the rocket base while all the Autobots are busy, like, punching scarecrows, basically.
This is really an everyone sucks
it really
situation.
Is. Like...
By which I mean, and by the situation, I mean the entire show, just to be clear.
So the Decepticons, like, get a whole bunch of energy. They have enough to open a space bridge back to Cybertron. And this is where we get the first of many coup attempts from Starscream, and boy, already we are starting at maximum pathetic. He literally takes, like, one shot at Megatron, and Megatron just shoots him back and knocks him over immediately, and starts like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Ooh, he's like cry typing. He's like, I
was threatened.
To shoot you.
What I love about Starscream's assassination attempts in G1 is that every time. I mean, that's what they are. They're very bad, but they are assassination attempts.
Or sometimes Megatron just falls over incidentally, unrelatedly, and it's like, my time to shine.
Right. Well, regardless, is that every time they don't work immediately, he just throws up his hands and goes, "Guess I'll die."
Yeah, he just immediately goes into full grovel. It's like, "Oh, please, I didn't mean it. I'm a little silly rabbit, sir. I didn't mean to shoot you in the face.
I keep you on your toes. If it weren't me, someone else would do it.
So this is where the Decepticons are starting to build their space bridge, and the Autobots go to stop them. And it's a big fight. Everyone's fighting. What's really... there's a really good moment here, though, where Starscream is, like, shooting some people. And then Spike throws a rock at his null ray, which knocks it off. And then when... It's really funny, because it knocks the null ray off his arm. And then he, like, kind of starts bending down to pick it back up, and then Prowl just runs it over.
He's so put off by this entire battle. He's doing this. I can't tell you how slow he's being about it. There's no urgency about it. He's just so put off by everything.
It's like if you dropped a fucking pin on the floor. Like, I'm pick it up real quick. Like, no, you're being shot at actively. That's one of your main weapons, idiot. And then Prowl just runs it over. Like, not even really trying. He's just in the middle of going somewhere.
Exactly. And like Starscream just like stares at it. It's so
empty-eyed slackjaw, like, duh. What happened?
There's also when Megatron and Optimus engage here, there's the first part is a rare W for Optimus here, where he basically gets to Olay.
Yeah, he fucking Judo throws Megatron at one point, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but again, none of this really matters. The Decepticons get what they need, and they are blasting off again, but on purpose this time.
Oh, also, I mean, we didn't mention every beat, because God, who can imagine doing that for G1? Sidestripe and Sunstreaker showed up at some point to do stuff. Sunstreaker's the fancy boy in this show. Mirage is too, but Sunstreaker is more openly, like, snobby and vain. But they don't really do much. So don't worry about them, really. Anyway, yeah, the Decepticons are...
That's not true. They do something very important.
That's true. They do something.
They do jet judo. So, again, once we get past these episodes and the Autobots can no longer fly, and actually we're getting Sideswipe's. I assume this is why you're talking about them, because of Sideswipe's jetpack. But after these episodes... Sideswipe and Sunstreaker become the closest that the Autobots have to an anti-air unit.
Because Sideswipe has a jetpack, and until the aerial bots in the middle of season 2, they have no air power at all. I guess they also get Power Glide.
Well, they have Skyfire.
Yeah, but Skyfire is only around every other week, and Power Glide isn't really a fucking like combat guy. He's too busy wooing.
He makes love, not war.
Exactly. He's too busy wooing human ladies to fucking focus on the war effort.
Oh god.
So
Power Glide and the story are my favorite characters in G1. Actually,
such a funny episode.
So, followed by Rumble, followed by Starscream.
So yeah, they're on the cruiser. The Decepticon cruiser is blasting off. They built this thing really fast, by the way, and I love this. Immediately after they're on the cruiser, Starscream's like, "Okay, time for another fucking coup."
Well, yeah. So a couple things happen. First, like Optimus sees this goes up, and he's like, "I'm Sideswipe, give me your jetpack," and they're like, "You're insane," and he's like, "I'll be back." Yep.
And then everyone looks around and goes, "Hey, where's Mirage?" That's a fun tool that will help us later.
So back in Cooland, Megatron's like, Starscream, I see you've learned nothing. You've cheated not only...
I love the stance he takes when he turns around to face. He's like a fucking cowboy. He puts his hands on his hips, but in a manner of like he's reaching towards his guns, like he's getting ready. He's like
Ratchet in the comics.
Exactly.
With his hands always in his panties.
Wow.
Did you not see that line? That was an actual thing.
I must have forgotten.
Or maybe not. No. So, J-Ro actually talked about the fact on an MTMT last night that whenever Ratchet was in a scene not doing anything, he wanted to have his hands hooked into his hips for that kind of like old cowboyish kind of things. But it's his fingers in his panties in every shot.
Well, now I'll reread it and think about that every time I see Ratchet not doing anything.
Anyway,
speaking of not doing anything, Optimus
fucking... Wait. So Megatron's like, you've cheated not only the Decepticons, but also yourself. You've learned nothing. He blasts Starscream, and they're going on and on. He's like, I'm going to be leader one day. And Megatron's like, the problem with you being leader, Starscream, is that there will always be someone trying to usurp you, just like you doing me. And it's like, yeah, his name's Rat Trap.
It's true.
And Starscream calls him out on it in 5 minutes.
And yeah, but that's when Mirage fucking uncloaks and puts a sapper on the fucking Decepticon cruiser. And
then
all
like,
of the Decepticons just turn around and go, "Oh shit, what? Who's that guy?"
And then he's like, "Anyway, bye." Enters Earth's atmosphere.
He leaves, and the fucking Decepticon cruiser crashes into the ocean, and Mirage comes back down. And this line is weird. So he comes down and he has a cool one-liner where Optimus like, "Mirage, I was very reckless of you," and then he goes, "Sorry, Prime, the ship was full."
The ship was full. He had to skydive
of water?
out.
Was
it was full of people.
Yeah.
It was maximum capacity.
Oh, it's important to stay within regulations. Anyway, all of the Autobots like, well, that does it.
The FAA.
That does it. The Decepticons are dead forever now.
Again, for the second
it's not
time.
like the Ark survived orbital re-entry and everyone was fine. So clearly crashing into the ocean, that's way worse, right?
It is really funny that the Nemesis is just like underwater.
See,
for the rest
but that's
of
the thing. It's
series.
not the Nemesis. It's something else. I forget what this ship is called, but like it's a different one. The Nemesis is like in the jungle somewhere, I think, because they do go to find it eventually. But yeah, this ship will continue to be their base for the next 2 seasons of G1. This fucking underwater base is a pretty cool base. I gotta say, I like it. Yeah, I was thinking more than meets the eye. Do we get a stinger of like the Decepticons in the ocean yet, or is that just like not?
We get the last note I have here before we the final stinger is that like Spike is journaling again.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, I'm sure glad those Decepticons are gone forever. Peace and love on Earth.
Yep. Good job, buddy. I'm sure that'll carry forward.
But yeah, we get the very last thing that we get is a stinger where we don't see anything, but we hear it just like over the water. And you can see a dark shadow, and you hear, like, Megatron yell.
Right. So they'll be back. They're all wet. It's fine. That's more than meets the eye. That was the world's introduction to the Transformers. It's very funny. It only gets funnier from here, folks. It's amazing.
It's a perfect show.
You don't know.
No,
You don't know the shit we're going to get up to. All right. So, we've got some questions, and we made through those 3 episodes in pretty good time, so we got time for all of them.
Hell yeah.
We got one on Twitter from @mgaunt, who asks, what do you think it's like to drink Energon? Like, what do you think the taste, viscosity, temperature, texture of it all is like? Thanks. Okay. So,
it's blue raspberry.
But usually it's pink.
No, because we've talked about this, about how pink is only in one continuity.
But I feel alright. So like,
it's always blue.
Is it? I've always seen.
It's like it's like always blue, except in like the comic continuity where it's pink.
I think it's also pink and animated. At least the Energon cubes.
Maybe, but we definitely talked about pink only being in one continuity before, because I was talking about how. How RC was considered. It was when we were talking about the RC episode of Animated.
Yes.
Where I was like, in the comics, it's kind of like scary because it's a color of Energon.
Yeah. All right. So it's blue raspberry / it's like a berry blast for IDW and Animated. Text I think Energon's probably hot, right? Like it's
so
energy.
here's what I imagine for it. I think it's like probably has like the viscosity of like milk.
Oh.
I don't think it's like creamy. I don't think it's creamy, but I think it's like a little bit thicker, you know what I mean? And I think it kind of is like pineapple in which it eats you back.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. I imagine there being an actual electric current going in. So it's kind of like very lightly putting a plug to your tongue.
So that makes sense. It's like it's an energy drink basically. It makes your teeth rattle when you drink it.
Yeah, it's Monster.
Oh, God.
Bottoms up and the devil laughs.
They're all powered by Monster energy drinks.
All right. On Discord from Daphnis, we have quick. Rank all of the Optimuses, Optimi, Optimodes we've seen so far, including Bayverse, on a scale from best dad ever to should never be left alone with
All
a
right,
child.
so I think Prime Optimus, that's a good dad. That's a powerful dad right there.
That's the most dad we've seen.
Animated Optimus,
And I think
yeah.
the most dad we get, period.
Yeah, he is the dadliest of Optimuses.
Yeah.
Prime Optimus is like a 7. Like, he's a little young, but like he's growing into the role, and I think he is usually pretty responsible.
Animated?
Yeah, animated Optimus.
You know what? Instead of giving them numeric values, I'm just gonna give them my like list of best to least.
Right.
So Prime and top, followed by Armada.
Really?
Yeah, I think Armada's better than animated.
He endangers those children so many times.
But he really tries not to.
Does he? He didn't at first. I think he maybe learned how delicate humans were.
Yeah. I think he's a little wiser.
Sure.
And a little yeah, more responsible.
definitely
So
more
I put him second.
He commands more respect than animated Optimus.
True. Then animated. Then G1.
Yeah.
And then Bayverse.
Bayverse Optimus should not be let near anyone with a head. Any being with a head structure, don't let him near them.
I want a restraining order against Bayverse Optimus.
Can we shoot him into space? He shouldn't be here. He's a danger to everyone. Yeah, he is. Bayverse Optimus, not a dad, mostly just a murderer, bloodthirsty warlord. He tore Grinder's head apart with hooks. That's not dadly.
From Aurora #1 Ravage Enjoyer, Casey Cosmos. Why are the Energon cubes rectangular prisms? What's the coolest Cybertronian vehicle mode we saw? Coolest fake-ass fictional gemstone? And what happens in the alternate dimension where the Decepticons use wooden turbines to get energy instead of the damn plot? Who gets stuck spinning the blades?
I know the answer to that one. It's Starscream. He has to hover there.
It's all of them.
Yeah, all of the Seekers have to sit there and.
It's the cone heads.
Yes,
Starscream delegates and makes the cone heads do it.
Hang on, I got guys for this.
Okay, why are the Energon cubes rectangular prisms? It's compressed energy.
Yeah, they're usually cubes, but squish them down and you get some little whatchamacallit.
You can fit more of them in your subspace. Yeah. Again, is parentheses, not BDSM.
Cool. Okay, we already said the coolest Cybertronian vehicle ones we saw is the Tetrajets. That's
easy.
No question.
Yeah. Coolest fake ass fictional gemstone. Listen, I've been playing it right now, so I'm gonna say Luminous Stone from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I like Uncharted 2 had the what's it called? The big sapphire that turned out to be like concentrated magical tree sap. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a nice one. Not technically a gem, but like it's a
no,
cool
it
thing.
counts.
He has some of that in the 4th game in his like attic where he keeps all his other keepsakes.
That is absolutely a fake ass fictional gemstone.
It makes you into a big buff blue man. Pretty cool. Although, didn't you say those rubies are real?
No.
Okay, I figured.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a joke. Crystal rubies, which are real. Sorry, ruby crystals, which are real.
Pokemon crystals, of course, the 2nd gen one, and Ruby is the 3rd gen one.
Yeah, ruby crystals are my that's my stripper name.
Alright.
From Optimus Prime. Hey, so why didn't OP use that super strength that can pick up entire freighters again? Because shut up.
Didn't feel like it. Just humans. There's a bunch of them. Well, you don't need to fucking go all the way.
From Slipstream Sam. If you could pick a retro future invention that people thought would happen and actually have it, what would it be? Fully automated nurse robots, like all the Jetsons.
Yes.
I mean, maid robots.
Yeah, just that. Like, imagine. All right. I mean, flying cars, obviously, like it would create a new traffic situation, but it'd be really nice for flying cars to exist and be one of the people who owns a road car. Because then imagine. Everyone's going to be flying because they want to be trendy.
The emissions. We are in a climate crisis.
I'm going to assume that the flying cars run on hydrogen or something. Like, we figured it out.
They are all mini bombs.
Yeah, it's just like Fallout, where every car is a fucking nuclear reactor. It's fine as long as you don't crash. Then you have to worry.
Optimus Prime also asks, who thought the melody for the theme song was a good idea? It bangs. Leave me alone.
I think the second season one's better. This one's, it's a classic, it's iconic,
Yes.
but like...
No, the second one is better, obviously.
The melody is so fucked up.
It's like someone... It's like that final battle in Mother 3.
God.
That's like the music that's in like 1937.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. It's not a very, it bangs, but it is also not a very pleasant auditory experience.
No, it is definitely not. Like it is one of the most classic TV theme songs of all time, but they did it better later. They figured out how to make it kind of funky in 80s instead of like, I don't know. I do like the guitar at the beginning. They're like, wow, now, now, na, 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 na. Like, that's nice.
I mean, I feel like everything could have been solved with just some rhythm issues.
Yeah,
but...
we taking another pass at this one, boys.
Maybe put on a metronome next time. From Black Arachnia Lovebot, how many boobies could a booby trap catch if a booby trap could catch boobies? How many did
Wrong
this
episode.
one?
That's in the future. This booby trap explicitly caught no boobies. And in fact, they were the boobies in this situation. Makes you think, doesn't
it? Sure does. If you had to make a Sonic game with a Transformers cast, who would you cast as Sonic? Hard mode, only ones you've seen in G1 so far. So easy mode is easy.
Easy mode.
That's a blur.
Yeah, easy mode is easy. It's Blur or animated Bumblebee because he's got the tood. Only G1.
I would say Blue Streak.
Right, because he'd make Blue Streak the Blue Streak, right.
Or alternatively, Thundercracker.
Oh my god. I don't think Thundercracker is like chipper enough for Sonic though.
Personality-wise, no, but he can break the Sonic barrier.
That's true.
That is his outlier ability.
That's what they call him at.
So...
And finally, this is a big question, actually. This is the big thing. Should the Transformers be public figures like in animated or secret like in Prime? So, it's funny, right? Because the theme song straight up says robots in the skies, but never at any point in G1 are they trying to hide at all.
Well, the Decepticons do sometimes.
True, but not mostly for like ambush reasons. They're not hiding their presence on Earth. Everyone knows about them. There's literally wanted posters of Megatron in a later episode.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are they? It's like, watch out for this guy. It's like, yeah, if you see this guy, you're already fucked. Like, what's the point of these? What do we do? Call the cops on Megatron?
I mean, so I'm torn of two ways depending on like how I'd feel as a person in a universe where Transformers are real versus how I feel as a viewer watching this franchise. Obviously, if I was a person in a world where Transformers were real, I would want to know about that. Right. As someone watching this, I think it inarguably has made things much more challenging.
Exactly. It adds a layer of like they can't just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Or when they do whatever, like in Prime, Megatron doesn't really give a shit about that. So that's an interesting wrinkle, right? It's like a character thing. I do think the Masquerade is like a cool wrinkle to these stories.
And I do think that a la Bumblebee, like, human reaction, particularly in the United States, but probably anywhere, would be to try to capture them and study them in a way that is not conducive to anyone having a good time.
And look, there's stuff that plays around with the Masquerade breaking, right? Like there's the earlier IDW stuff with All Hail Megatron and its aftermath. Like, it's all interesting stuff. And I also do kind of like the animated take on it, right? Where they're just superheroes.
Sorry. I'm just thinking about All Hail Megatron and Astro Train killing everyone on the subway.
Yeah, All Hail Megatron is a fucking hilarious comic. I don't know how good it is, but it's very funny. It is so like...
That's the funniest thing they could have had Astro Train, who has the shittiest alt forms,
the thing about All Hail Megatron is makes it so funny is like clear, like it is so much what like an edgy 10-year-old would want to happen out of G1. Like, what if the fucking Decepticons just kill everybody? That'd be fucking cool. And they wrote a comic about that. They did indeed. At some point, Megatron kills everyone in Beijing, I think. It's insane. All Hail Megatron is an insane comic.
Genocide.
Like, you can't really blame Earth for not really wanting the Cybertronians around after that.
Yeah.
I think later in IDW, the scale of All Hail Megatron was forgotten a little bit.
Well, I mean, there's a field of flowers.
That's true.
Though I guess that doesn't really count human life,
but
does
it's
it?
still like symbolically there. It's like,
yeah.
So that is it for questions. That is it for our first episode of G1. We have been Prime Cuts. I'm Nero. You can follow me on Twitter at Dragons. Make sure you can follow me in my various other projects in various other places, such as Radio Free Heidelin, the Final Fantasy XIV podcast to do with my friend Jane at Heidelin Radio. Our previous show, Podcast of Power, all about She-Ra 2018 at Podcast of Power. I'm also on Disney Minus at Disney Minus Pod, which next up is Ratatouille, which was my choice because I want to rewatch it. I want to see it again. I want to see that rat.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr and Twitter, and I guess co-host now. At Optimum on Prime. That's my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do. It's called Pot of Greed. It's about Yu-Gi-Oh! We are in season 4 of GX. You can find that at Pot of Greed Cast on Twitter. You can also stay tuned to hear more about an upcoming project I am releasing with a friend on the Moonshot Network. More details about that coming soon. And collectively, yeah, we've been Prime Cuts, and you can find us on the Noise Space Network, which is continuously getting new shows these days.
Yeah, welcome Dr. Ha to the lineup. I love the concept for that show because eventually they're going to hit the concept is, of course, Sam and Jordan are going to randomly do a random episode of the Doctor Who reboot every week. And eventually they're going to hit a finale, one of Moffat's clusterfuck finales. And that's going to be amazing because in context, those barely make sense. Out of context, ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, there's also Gay Friends Chainsaw Dog Sanctuary, which is a new one.
I gotta watch and read Chainsaw Man.
And I'm trying to think of what else is new. There's like a lot of new stuff lately.
Sounds About Light, the Kingdom Hearts podcast.
Yeah, Sounds About Light is a good one.
I just realized that's supposed to be Sounds About Right. Fuck. Yeah. God damn it.
Yep.
Shit.
So anyway, lots of stuff on Noise Space, lots of stuff being added to Noise Space. Go check it out. And I think that's it. So until next time, I'm going to just casually drop these keys on the floor. Oops. I hope no one notices that and transform and roll out.
I've been a little injured, so I'm just going to transform and... Peach.
No, you needed 50 more seconds of that. For the love of God, Peach.
Peach!
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers.